Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for having me once again on this platform. It is just to purify myself, to purify my speech. And today I am allocated with this beautiful, amazing chapter. Chapter 14 has got like 61 verses, and 16 also I've got over 60 verses. This one has got only 28 verses. I just hope to do justice to this amazing chapter, right? Can you hear me properly, Prabhuji? Yeah? Okay. May I share my screen, please?
Okay, I'll just give you host rights, Mataji. Go
Okay.
host rights. Just bear with me. Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
Okay. So we are going to start by some prayers first. Okay, let's start with some prayers. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yita Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaisnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishubhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Krishna Das Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatadi Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Mukham Karoti Vacharam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Ham Vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam Pranamananda Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotavam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Srinvatam Sakatha Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtanha Hirdayantosto Hafyabhadrani Vidonuti Suritsatan Nashta Praishwa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Tam Slokir Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So once again, please kindly accept my humble obeisances, all dear devotees. Thank you for being here, and thank you for giving me your support, because if you're not on this platform, to whom I'm going to talk? So thank you once again. So now, as I said, this is a very small chapter, and I hope to do justice to the chapter. And before starting, I would like to go to the prelude. Let's see a little bit what has happened before this chapter. Okay. right? So here we see that despite having, probably, can you hear me properly? Okay, thank you. So we see that despite having thousands or millions of queens, King Citraketu didn't have a son, right? He has all the opulences, he has so many wives, but he didn't have a son. So by the arrangement of providence, sage Aṅgirā visited the king, and then seeing the lamentation of the king of not having a son, the sage, he performed some fire sacrifice, and then he out of compassion, he performed that yagna so that the king can have a son. But the sage also told the king that what will happen, that son will cause him both happiness and distress. But the king, the sage saw that the king was so much engrossed in so much attached in getting material benefit, that he didn't pay attention to what the sage said. The sage said that child will cause you both happiness and distress. So that part, he didn't pay much attention to that. But what happened? What did he do? The king neglected all the other queens, and he just got attached, too much attached to the son and to his first queen, the son's mother, who was Queen Citraketu, right? So the king, he neglected all the other wives who were burning in envy because of not having a son. So finally, they all poisoned the child. And then we see how much lamentation that goes to both the queen and the Queen Citraketu and the king himself. And then here, they lamented so much that they started blaming the Lord. And here we see the queen was blaming the Lord for the loss of her son. And here we can say that we see the mentality of the conditioned souls. When we are in happiness, we take credit. And when we are in distress, we blame the Lord. So that is kind of many people that use this, oh, why me? Why the Lord is giving me so much problem in my life? So the queen, she goes further. She chastised the Lord and saying that the Lord was merciless. And how could a father die when the son a son died when the father was still alive? Because in those days, the parents were supposed to die before the child. So parents had to leave before. So here, but we see King Citraketu, he was so absorbed in getting a son that the first time he met Aṅgirā Rishi, he did not pay much attention to what the Rishi has told him. Eventually, the king's greatest source of pleasure, it became the king's greatest source of distress when he lost a son. So it is describing in the chapter that not only the king and the queen, and not only all the people in the palace, all these attendants and all the people in the whole kingdom, they were so distressed that they lost kind of their they fall unconscious. That is what is written there. So I would like to ask a question here, because we have been dealing with this pastime of King Citraketu, like a couple of weeks now. We have been reading also. A question here: why so many millions of queens and the king are involved in one son's life? Please, you can unmute and give an answer to this question, please. Anyone have an answer?
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating the question?
Why millions of queens and the king were involved in one son's life?
Yeah, thank you for the question.
Anyone have an answer?
Would it be because the queens were involved in, well, they were, you know, in going through envy, and the king was glad that he had the son, and he didn't see other things.
Yes, Mataji, but my question is, why did all of them get involved only to that son? Everybody was around that son.
Yes,
So,
I have a guess, if I
yes.
may. I think it is related to the nature of the sun. That son in question, I guess that he was not an ordinary son, or something special about him made the king and all the queens to gravitate towards him. Maybe a special quality. That is my guessing.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. Thank you, Mataji, also. So all the living entities, all the queens, or the king, everybody that got involved with the sun, they must have been the enemies of the sun in their past lives. That's why they all came under one roof to suffer, because in the past life, they caused the sun to suffer. We will see that as we go along, so we will see that. So they are all brought together. Even those queens who didn't have a child, they suffered in a different way, right? So similarly, we see sometimes a child is born in a family, and then the doctor says there's some defects, there's some diseases, and the family will say, okay, they will remortgage the house, they will take a loan, they will borrow money just to save the child, right? They'll do everything. Despite their effort, their money, their time, their energy, the child dies after they spend so much money. So in this regard, the child was related to them in the past life. They owed the child money in a way, or they deprived the child from getting his due. So he came in this life, he gave them this attachment, and then he made them spend so much, and then he left. That is kind of paying your karma with compound interest. That's what happened. Similarly, we see sometimes young couple, husband and wife, the wife goes early or the husband dies early and leaving the other one to suffer because they have been enemies in their past life, right? The sages will tell that later. And even sometimes we see plane crash, sometimes we see a shipwreck, or we see natural calamities. So all these people, they have similar karmas. So they are brought together and then karma will act on them, right? So, so here it is also mentioned that the king was disheveled, his hair and clothing were scattered, he lost all control and was crying with his mouth wide open near the dead body of his son. He was in such a grief that he could not recognize the Rishi, Aṅgirā Rishi, but by whose mercy he got that child. So, and here we see he is turning toward the sages because he could understand that they were great sages under disguise. So he turned toward them for solace. So now let's start with our chapter 15. And here, let's see. So this is, I've given this title, The Merciful Orchestration by the Sages. And we can see how Citraketu, King Citraketu must have been like this, opening his mouth wide and crying and all. So King Citraketu's tragedy, it was not mere chance. It was a carefully arranged lesson by the sages Aṅgirā and Nārada. So because during his previous visit, Aṅgirā Rishi had granted the king a son, knowing well that that son would bring both happiness, joy and sorrow, both happiness and joy and distress. But by the mystic arrangement, a son was given by the grace of Maya Devi. only not to live for long, right? This seemingly cruelty, it was actually a compassion. It was a blessing in disguise, as we can say. Aṅgirā Rishi saw that the king was too much absorbed in material desires to take up transcendental knowledge. So what did he do? What did he do? He just gave a temporary son so that the king could have the experience, right? He softened his heart through experience, right? Here we can see that Aṅgirā Rishi, he applied the philosophy of Daksh Prajapati. I'm sure all of us remember in chapter 5 of this Canto, we saw how Daksha Prajapati was lamenting when Nārada Muni converted his 11,000 sons into brahmacharis. Daksha Prajapati, he told Nārada Muni, let's see what he says. He told Nārada Muni, this is from there, material enjoyment is indeed the cause of all unhappiness, but one cannot give it up unless one has personally experienced how much suffering it is. Therefore, one should be allowed to remain in so-called material enjoyment to experience the misery of this false material happiness. That's what Aṅgirā Rishi did. He applied that, the technique of Daksha here. So Aṅgirā Rishi knew that after the bad experience and the suffering, King Citraketu would eventually, he would give up lamentation, and he will try to understand, he will try to look for the spiritual life. So another question here, why Aṅgirā Rishi went to meet King Citraketu alone the first time? Because second meeting, we will see two sages. First time, why did he go on his own? Anyone? Okay. So Aṅgirā Rishi, no doubt, he is very elevated. He has got mystic power. He is very powerful. But then, comparing to Nārada Muni, he is not that powerful and that convincing as Nārada Muni is, because none of the living entities who has come into contact with Nārada Muni, none of them could reject the teaching of Nārada Muni. He was so powerful that he could convert 10,000 sons of Daksha Prajapati in one go. Wouldn't he be able to convince a king? Right? Of course, he would have been able to do that. Nārada Muni is a father of devotional service. So he enlightened so many great souls. We know throughout Bhagavatam, we come to countless names. We know about Valmiki Muni, we know about the Sandhamrigari, we know about Vyasadeva, we know about Parvati Mata, we know about Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, the 11,000 sons of Daksha Prajapati. So many are there. Definitely, he would have convinced the king. Nārada Muni was not only preaching to human beings, he was preaching to all living creatures also. So there's a famous story of a snake. He told the snake not to bite anyone. So the snake, became very sober, and he did not bite anyone. But the next time Nārada Muni saw the snake, he was suffering, he was bleeding. So Nārada Muni asked what happened, and he replied that people are taking advantage of my tolerance, and they are hitting me. So Nārada Muni told him, I told you not to bite. I didn't tell you not to open your fang. Just open your fang just to scare them. So Nārada Muni here, he is giving us, he is showing us how to be tolerant. At the same time, he is showing us how to protect ourselves. That is also there. So without any doubt, Nārada Muni would have convinced a king to take up to spiritual life. But then what would have happened? Another question is here. What would have happened if Nārada Muni has convinced the king to take to spiritual life at the beginning? What would have happened? No answer? Okay.
We would not have learned the lesson then.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So we would have not learned the lesson. We would not get the substance to know how to get detached from material hankerings. So this is the essence here that we have got, and we have to take lesson from here. So sometimes often what we see, that is an easily missed insight of how a guru sometimes uses kind of a shock therapy. A shock therapy, he orchestrates material ups and downs to awaken the detachment from material happiness, and then the eagerness for spiritual wisdom. Aṅgirā Rishi, he used a technique on the king, so that the king can get detached and then get attached to the spiritual life. And furthermore, we see that both the sages, they flatly rejected the relationship of the bodily, like the body. You know, they said this body they don't believe in. It is here, yes, but that thus they are teaching us here that the soul, all the souls are ultimately children of the Supreme Lord, and that we all are temporarily related to a particular mother and father due to our past karma. That's how we got our mother and father. So we should view this perspective of the eternal soul beyond temporary familial roles. This is a very crucial lesson that we ignore. Most of the time we ignore that. Our worldly relationships, while emotionally real, they are impermanent arrangements of the Lord's energy. They are real world, yes, but they are impermanent. So it is meant to teach us and eventually be transcended. When we get the knowledge, then we start to get detached and elevate ourselves, right? But because we are conditioned, we are all conditioned souls, right? And we misunderstand the conception of the soul and the body. The body is material, and within the body is a soul. The soul is a source of life, a source of consciousness, and it is our individual identity. So let's see what Srila Prabhupada says. If we do not come out of this bodily conception, what will happen? So in his purport of text 3, Srila Prabhupada mentioned the verse 2.13 of Bhagavad Gita. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara yatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhyati. Translation: as embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. That is what Srila Prabhupada said here, right? Srila Prabhupada said that all our endeavors will fail if we remain in the bodily conception of life, and we will have to undergo sufferings of material life one after another. This material world is called Dukhalayam Saswatam. It's full of miseries, and we are happy in here. Most of us, we are happy in here, right? It is temporary. It is a place full of miseries, a reservoir of miseries. But it is real. It is not false. And what does Lord Shri Krishna say about the great souls who are enlightened? How do they help their disciples? Like, example is here. How do these two great souls, Nārada Muni and Aṅgirā Rishi, they help King Citraketu out? So let's see what Shri Krishna said about it. So Bhagavad Gita 9.13, Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashritaha bhajantyananya manaso gyatva bhutadi navyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So now let's see a little bit about the spiritual guidance. As a spiritual master, they themselves, they take initiation from their guru, and they know about Krishna also. So they can give a sincere candidate, they can give the spiritual guidance. And then they are loyal, dedicated, because they are loyal to Krishna and to their guru. So they are loyal to their disciples also, because they have taken the vow to take the disciple to Krishna. So they are loyal to the disciple, and they're dedicated in their vow, right? They have a divine connection with Krishna, so they can connect us to Krishna. And they have the transformative power. They can transform anyone. We know Nārada Muni transformed so many of them. Too many to explain now. And then they have faith and they are open. Open, why? Because if a disciple has problem, the guru must be there to help. Similarly, the disciple must be open and have faith. Because suppose we go to a doctor and we hide our disease, or we go to a lawyer, we hide whatever fault we have. We will never win the case, we'll never get better. So guru is here, and then we have to be open. And similarly, guru also will help us. They will not hide anything, or they are not going to tell everybody about our problem. So we have to have this space also. Srila Prabhupada also said about this. Hold on a second. Yeah. So let's see what is the importance of a guru here. This is a drawing. This is not from Google AI, Meta, or whatever it is. It is a drawing. One of a disciple from Brazil, she drew it, and then she said, Mataji, you can use for your classes. So this is in itself, a whole class can be given, right? So I am using this to start from here. These are the 9 processes. No, these are 9 stages of bhakti, right? Here, we say bhakti lata bij. We say the seeds of bhakti. So this is start here. And we start from Shraddha. Maybe Shraddha, how does Shraddha come? We have seen, we have heard something, some people chanting the Maha Mantra, or somebody give us the book. So we get Shraddha. And then Shraddha is faith. Then we move on. We move on to Sadhu Sangha. We go to association of devotees. And then we have the Bhajana Kriya, which is performance of devotional service. And then Anartha Nivritti, we decrease the unwanted attachment. And then we go back to Nishtha. Nishtha is steadiness. We go firm in our belief. And then Nishtha, Ruchi, we start developing taste. Ashakti, attachment to the lotus feet of the Lord. Bhava is love of God. And then Prema is pure love of God. But Prema also, there are 5 stages here. I'm not going into detail. Now, we should not be confusing these 9 stages to the 9 processes of bhakti. Shravanam, which means like we listen. Kirtanam, then we start chanting. Smaranam, we remember. And then Vandanam, we do prayer. Pada Sevayam, we start serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Dasyam, we serve as a friend. And Archanam, we do deity worship. Sakyam, Sakyam, we serve as a friend. And Atmanivedanam, we completely surrender. Now, these are the 9 processes, and these are the 9 stages. Now we come here. This is a ladder, stairs. We get Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga. But this Karma Yoga, people are happy. This is us, material world. We stay here. And then we are happy here. Then Jnana Yoga, here we get our good and bad karmas. Jnana Yoga, people go to the knowledge. They can recite the 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita and the 18,000 verses of Bhagavatam, and then they're happy. They'll go around and people will praise them. They're happy to stay here. Dhyana yoga, this is it's not recommended in the age. People will have to go in a secluded place. They have to find a seat. They have to sit nicely on it, and they have to control all their senses. And it's a long process. But all these, very rarely they come here. Most of the time, fall down. But we come here now. This is Guru. This is an elevator. Guru has opened the door. If we hold on to his lotus feet, he takes us here to Krishna. This is the importance of Guru. But we should not leave his lotus feet, otherwise we can jump out anywhere. And this is called Bhakti or Buddhi Yoga. So I won't spend much time. As I said, a class can be given on this because I have to continue with the other one. So now, let's see what it is very, very important to have a guru in our parampara. In our disciplic succession, we have to have a guru. It is the most prominent things in someone's life. And we know Rupa Goswami, what Rupa Goswami says. He says there are 5 prominent things in one's life. So let's see what they are. First, take shelter of a guru, take initiation from him, be very submissive and serve the guru, follow in his footsteps. And then 5th, inquire about the eternal devotional service. So here we see principal things is, the duty of a disciple is to take shelter of a spiritual master, right? So a guru, he plays a central role in the disciple life for advancement in Krishna consciousness. So we should understand the position of the spiritual master. Similarly, we should understand our position also. It's not like, okay, I go to the guru to become famous and then I blaspheme the guru or whatever. No, a disciple should take a bona fide spiritual master. So sometimes some people may say, okay, I don't need to take a guru. I may just read the Shastra and chant Mahamantra and I'm done. But it's not like that. They will not get liberation. So a question here. So why do we need a spiritual master? Okay, let's see what the first verse. Oh, somebody can recite it, I'm sure. What is the first verse of a Mangalacharan? The prayer that we recite before starting a class.
Gyananjana Shalakaya. Chakshuran.
Yes, I know. I know why we do need a guru.
Yes, Prabhuji, Mataji is talking. Please, can we let her finish? So anyone know the translation? We recite.
Yes, like I was born in ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes.
Yes, I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch of knowledge. So to get the knowledge, we need to have a guru. And then I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So now another question. If we don't accept a guru, who becomes our guru?
Our mind.
Our minds.
Exactly. Thank you. Our mind becomes our guru, and then the vision that we see, that will be of our own mental speculation. And we can read Vedic literatures lifetime after lifetime, but we will not come to any conclusion. Whatever we will read, it will not be the proper understanding of the philosophy. It will be like not valid, will be void. So Srila Prabhupada used to say that he was simply following the instruction of his spiritual master. That was his credit. He would say that he was simply repeating what his spiritual master had said. He was following in his footsteps. So let's take, so when we take such a position, we understand the philosophy. And what should be our goal here? We should study the Vedas under a bona fide spiritual master, meaning taking complete shelter of a guru. right? And here what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said about a guru or meeting a pure devotee. Chaitanya Chaitamrita, he said, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Sastra Kaya Lava Matre Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Haya. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that by even a moment association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. And the Lava Matra, Lava Matra, that means 1/11th of a second, right? So now let's briefly see the qualities of a guru. This is what it should be like, the qualities of the guru and the spiritual master. This is a huge topic in itself that also a class can be given on it. So we'll not discuss too much on it. And just briefly, first and foremost, we must have a bona fide spiritual master, as I say, and then he should be coming in the distinct succession in the Vaishnava Sampradaya. There are 4 bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas. They are Sri Sampradaya, Brahma Gaudiya Madhva Vaishnava Sampradaya, from which ISKCON belong, and then we have Rudra and Kumara Sampradaya. These 4 descendants, they trace their origin back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, as we can see on the screen here. So few qualities of a spiritual master: he is humble, he is truthful, he is equal to everyone, he is faultless, mild, forgiving, clean, he is without material opulence, he performs welfare works for everyone, he is always peaceful, he is surrendered to his Guru and to Lord Krishna, he is devoid of selfish desires, and he is indifferent to material acquisition. So, on the other hand, one spiritual master who bestows his benediction onto his devotees to maintain a prestigious position is certainly not a good spiritual master. Similarly, a disciple should never approach a spiritual master with the idea of learning from him and becoming famous, right? Rather, this is not submissive. It is an attitude of pride, and disciple may not get the desired result. We pray every morning. We pray to our Guru. What do we say? Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Kariya Kya Arana Kariho Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Prashade Pure Sarva Asha. And the transition goes: make the teachings emanating from the lotus mouth of our spiritual master one with our heart and do not desire anything else. Attachment to his lotus feet is the best way to make spiritual advancement. His mercy fulfill all desires for spiritual perfection. That should be our Aṅgirā. Now let's go back to our discussion in chapter 15, and let's see the discussion. This chapter 15, it focuses on personal loss, right? But it also indirectly represents a theological perspective in the universe. So let's see. Yeah. We see here God's hands in all arrangements: personal loss or blessing in disguise, theological perspective, the Supreme Lord's sanction, life events and tragedies in devotional light, what drives one to seek higher truth. Okay, so we see in the instructions, Nārada Muni and Aṅgirā Rishi explained that every interaction, such as birth, death, meeting, separations, all these, they are happening under time and the Supreme Lord sanction, right? So in the text, there is a notable analogy which compares a Lord to a child playing on the beach, building and destroying sandcastles without attachment. this image is profound. Without the Lord creates, he creates fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, kings, citizens, thieves, killers, etc. He creates a lot as an uninterested sport. That is his Leela, his pastime, right? While he remained the controller, he is a controller. The sages here stress that neither parents nor children are independent. The Lord is the ultimate cause of creation, maintenance, and destruction. If we recognize this image through different angles, right, it will help us see our own life events, even tragedies in a devotional light, as part of Krishna's larger plan, meant for our spiritual evolution. An example is King Citraketu himself. He got a son by Guru's mercy, and the son dies, and he took to spiritual life after being enlightened by the sages. Right? This strategy shook the king's attachment and made him receptive. Here we can see how it illustrates a guru's wisdom. Sometimes a hard lesson, even one induced by the guru, is needed as blessing. It's a guru's blessing. It's just to purify the disciple, right? So we often see that suffering drives one to seek higher truth, right? Like here, we see that the sages who gave the benediction returned to enlighten the king. When we are finally ready, the guru will come. So when he was finally ready, his guru also come after he has experienced the happiness and the distress. So rather than cruelty here, it is a blessing in disguise for the king, right? So now let's focus on a very critical, very crucial point. Family affection. Are family affections condemned? What does Srimad Bhagavatam tell us about family affection? Does Krishna consciousness tell us not to love our family because it is all temporary? How should a devotee see family ties? How to practically apply transcendental knowledge to overcome grief? So let's see all these questions here. So many people ask this question. Many people always ask this, so do we become cold-hearted to our loved ones since these relations are temporary? In text 2, we see Nārada Muni stated that a father-son relationship is illusory and exists only for the present, just for the present time. So this statement might create doubt, okay. But Srimad Bhagavatam message is not to abandon love, but to transform it through knowledge, right? Nārada Muni and Aṅgirā Rishi instruct that one should not lament over temporary bodies because the soul's real relationship is with God. That's what they said. So temporary does not mean false. Srila Prabhupada clarifies this many times. He said, material world is true, but is impermanent. It's like dreams that begins and ends. So devotees are to care for their family as part of their duty, but with a wisdom that each soul is an individual traveler, right? And in the following chapter, we will see how the dead child is revived by Nārada Muni and how he refuses to recognize his parents. This shocking statement of the child is not meant to make us indifferent. This is to refocus our affection on Krishna, the eternal Father, and to treat our relatives as fellow souls rather than possessive relationships. Right? Srila Prabhupada writes that the living entity has no true relation with the material body that he gets from his mother and father. This is a very grave statement. Why? Why? It is a very grave statement. It's just because we are all part and parcel of Krishna. But how many of us do we really take it seriously? How many can accept this reality? It's hard to accept, but it is a truth. So devotees should love their families in relationship to Krishna by understanding that helping each other spiritually is a real affection. That is a great lesson about detachment from illusion and detachment from the responsibility. So here, it is detachment, yes, from illusion, not detachment from the responsibility and compassion that family life entails, right? Shastra says that parents who cannot liberate their children from birth, death, and old age and disease and material attachment should not have children, right? So here, now how can we practically apply the transcendental knowledge to overcome grief? For example, if a loved one dies, is it realistic or appropriate for us not to lament? So we see here how this great king, Citraketu and the queen, they were utterly devastated at their son's death, which is completely normal. It's realistic that we are losing someone, a loved one. So how does a devotee balance natural emotion with spiritual perspective? Srimad Bhagavatam, it does not suggest being emotionless. Rather, it provides transcendental knowledge as a medicine for grief. That is what we should seek for. There is no doubt that spiritual understanding brings peace, but we should also try to understand the soul's immortality. Then God's plan can ease a sting of loss. In practical terms, God has his plan, you know. If we, as devotees, we should address grief through sadhana, through spiritual practices in association with devotees, with saintly people. We should acknowledge that death wakes up the reality that the soul is eternal and that the specific relationship was for a short time. Here, we can compare how at the beginning of Mahabharata, how Arjuna, he was told to put aside lamentation with transcendental knowledge. So it is a parallel to King Citraketu's case, right? They were both like lamenting. The king is lamenting because he lost his son, and Arjuna was lamenting he was going to kill his relatives. So then the Lord instructed Arjuna, right? So this chapter is it's a very interesting and amazing chapter. We can discuss for hours from different angles, but I humbly suggest that devotees read Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, which deal with the souls, mainly verses 13 to 23. 23, such is my favorite. Nenam chindenti sastrani, nenam dehati pavaka, na chainam kridentyapo, na sushyati maruta. The soul cannot be cut into pieces by any weapon. It cannot be burned by fire. It can be moistened by water or withered by the wind. So moreover, we should bear in our mind one thing, that whoever has taken birth is going to die one day, definitely. That is a truth that we don't discuss about, we don't talk about. So now let's deep dive into this chapter through 3 lenses. First, let's see the philosophical. There's three lenses: philosophical, theological, and devotional. So let's see the first one. So each of these 3 lenses, they offer insight into the narrative here. So first we'll see, let's see this one. Philosophical insight, identity of the self, transmigration of the soul, law of karma and destiny, divine intervention versus karma, how both karma and mercy operate, mind and material illusions. So first, identity of the self. Srimad Bhagavatam, this Canto 6, chapter 15, and Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, both are treasure of an acknowledgement about the self. Here in verse 26, the sage repeatedly asked the king, consider, who are you? What is your position? What is the position of the soul? They asked, who are you, body, mind, or soul? And then where have you come from and where will you go after death? This inquiry, it cuts to the core, the teaching of the Vedanta Sutra, Vedanta philosophy, right? So we know we have to distinguish between spirit and matter. We know there are 8.4 million, 8,400,000 species of life. And from time immemorial, we have been roaming in all of them. Finally, we reach this human body. So here, this fact, here it underscores the transmigration of the soul. So let's explore about this teaching, the transmigration of the soul. So here, the sages, let's see how the sages dismantle the illusion of I and mine. In the translation of text 21 to 23, Aṅgirā Rishi, he used the term Gandharva Nagara, meaning a castle in the air, to describe our material relationship and achievements, which are like dreams, right? So a question here, in what sense is our material life a dream, and how does one wake up from it? Okay, so here the answer is by gaining spiritual knowledge and realizing our eternal identity as servants of the Lord, of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, right? This means that coming out of dream, when we realize who we are in reality, that is when we come out of the dream. Now let's see the law of karma and destiny. Nothing in the material life is random. Even intense suffering has causes from our previous actions. Here we can contemplate on what this story teaches us about the effect of our action across lifetimes. As we carry the karmas, we carry from lifetime to lifetime until we have completely exhausted our karmas, right? So in the chapter, we also see the role of Aṅgirā Rishi in changing King Citraketu's destiny by giving him a son when his fate has denied him one. This action raises a concept of divine intervention versus karma. In some cases, advanced devotees and even the Lord himself can override karma for a higher purpose. Here, the higher purpose was that the king's spiritual enlightenment. So also let us explore how karma and mercy operates, right? Karma brought a son who might have been an enemy of the king in the past, in his past life. Then mercy brought the gurus to deliver the king. So this dual perspective is philosophically rich, and it can be tied to Bhagavad Gita message that one can transcend the karma by surrendering to Lord Shri Krishna. So anyone remember the verse? It's in chapter 18 at the end, what Krishna says.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. That one, Mataji.
Yes. Sarva dharman
Surrender.
Yes. Mamekam saranam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. So the translation is, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. So this is a promise of the Lord to us. There is hope here, right? There is hope. So this, so let us see about the mind. and the material illusion. In the purport of text 24, Srila Prabhupada mentioned Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the analogy of dream, how our desire generates dreams, which are our life situation, so that feel real, but they are brief, right? So one may ask, if life is a dream, what is a waking up process in bhakti? The answer is hearing from Guru and Shastra, and the alarm clocks that wake us up is a true self, right? That is what happens. Here, the philosophical takeaway is renunciation, born of knowledge. When we get the knowledge, then we renounce. As exemplified by King Citraketu when he understood the truth. When he got the knowledge, when he understood the truth, then he just left everything, right? So now let's rapidly see on the theological insight. So Prabhuji, I don't know what's the time. Am I running? I'm taking more time.
It's fine, Mataji. You can carry on. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I won't be long. Thank you. Thank you. So here, theological insight is God's role and devotional principles, Krishna's hands in material life. What does this pastime teach us about God's involvement in our suffering and growth? The theological angle, the Guru Tattva principle of spiritual master, how Krishna works through his devotees, the concept of divine grace, the Supreme Father, and real relationship. So theological insight is like Krishna's hand in the material life is, here we see how the Supreme Lord orchestrates material nature. The sages say that they, by the Lord's arrangement, through his agent, a father beget a child, and by his arrangement, the child is taken away. As individuals, we are not independent creators, no controllers. So also God is not implicated directly in the ups and downs of this material world, which is under illusion. Yet, as a super soul, he guides every soul's journey. So, right? In Krishna uses our karma, right? In the case of the he is like Paramatma. He is guiding us from inside, right? Through the external manifestation of the sages. Internal, he is Paramatma. External, he is the sages. He comes as gurus, right? So how is God involved in our suffering and growth? The Lord sends his representative as gurus, and by their mercy, we get what we desperately want. And then the object is taken away, and to teach us to seek only for the Lord, not anything else. So the theological angle is that the Lord ultimately wants the conditioned souls back in his eternal abode. And he arranges the material world through time and karma to push the souls in that direction toward his abode. So the temporary creation and dissolution of relationship is thus part of a divine curriculum. He creates everything. We come here, we get attached to some people, something, and then dissolve everything, ultimately pushing us toward him, right? So here we can contemplate on how understanding God as a true father and friend can change our approach to family, society, and death. Krishna uses our own karma to pull us toward him. That's what he does. So let's see the devotional transformation of King Citraketu. The king's eagerness for God's darshan, Krishna reciprocation, association of devotees, how to invite transformational association into our life through renunciation in devotion. What is the devotional moral here? And why I would ask everyone to please think about this answer of the last one. Why didn't the sages stop after teaching that the world is a dream? Why did they introduce a mantra? Think about an answer for this, right? Thank you. So Here we can see that the turning point of King Citraketu's life from a grief-stricken worldly king to an enlightened bhakta. After hearing the transcendental knowledge from the sages, the king's devotion was revived. He showed humility and he surrendered, bowing down to the sages, and he accepted the mantra given to him without protest. He showed his eagerness for the Lord's darshan. Right? As soon as Nārada Muni offered him a mantra, he diligently accepted it. So the question is, another question is here, what qualities did the king exhibit that made him fit to see the Lord so quickly? That was his faith in Guru, detachment of the acquiring knowledge, and one-pointed desire for the Lord. This is the devotional proof that when one sincerely takes shelter of Guru and Krishna, Krishna reciprocates swiftly. Hence, we also see that King Citraketu's deliverance came through association of saints. Srila Prabhupada's purport urges that devotees should always aspire to live in association of advanced devotees. We see the impact here. One meeting with Nārada Muni and Aṅgirā Rishi changed everything. So how come we invite transformational association into our life? Here is by reading Srila Prabhupada's purports, which we often skip. Through them, Srila Prabhupada personally instructs us, then seeking guidance from senior Vaishnava and creating an atmosphere at home conducive to remembering these teachings. Here, the culmination of true renunciation in devotion isn't just the king's detachment. It is also that his bhakti yoga. He started practicing bhakti yoga. He didn't just leave everything dryly like this, right? The sage's aim was not to make him a dry renunciant, but a devotee who has accurate spiritual vision. In fact, Prabhupada commented that only at the stage of renunciation was a king ready for bhakti yoga. The devotional moral is that renunciation and knowledge find their perfection in loving service to Lord Krishna. So now let's see the last question. Why did the sages, why they didn't stop after teaching that the world is a dream? Why did they introduce a mantra? Some answers, please. Okay, let's see.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
One of the things that comes to my mind is I think Yudhishthira Maharaj said there's 5 things that are required to be successful in any endeavor. 3 of those things are things that we can control, like our intelligence and so on. 4 of those things, and then the 5th thing is Krishna's blessing. But one of the things as part of those 4 that are in our control is our endeavor. It's our effort. And so I'm just thinking about your question, and I think what I'm thinking is without any endeavor, like you can be blessed and the guru can take all of your karma or your sinful activities away and take you straight through. But the process of engaging in bhakti means connecting your soul, and expression of a relationship always means that you're doing something for that beloved. So the mantra can be seen as something, as a expression of devotion, and it's behind a lot of effort. And then with that individual giving that effort, you can connect a bit better rather than it being just given to you. So I'm just thinking along those lines.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You're right. Thank you. So this act of introducing a mantra, it helps us to see that voidism or mere detachment isn't the goal, whereas positive engagement in devotion is a real goal, right? The king's attainment of Lord Sankarsana, the darshan, which will be narrated in the next chapter, confirms the success, right, of devotional practice. Hence, devotee can think positive even amidst life's worst tragedies, right? Because turning to Lord Krishna, it's yield the highest reward, right? Because we see in in chapter 11, and in when Arjuna, no, this is not it. So yes, let's see. In chapter 11 of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna knew that Krishna was a Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? He knew that. But he requested Krishna to show his universal form. Why? Why he did that? He said that, I know, Krishna, that you are the Lord, but who else will believe me? If you show me your universal form, that will be as proof. So that is a proof that, yes, you're the Lord. So it's kind of proof that they give him a mantra, and then he accepted that mantra, and then he saw the Lord. He will, in next chapter we will see, he will have the darshan of Lord Shankarsana. So that is a proof that he is improving in his spiritual life, as you said, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you. So now let's see what does, in conclusion, what does this chapter 15 offers us? In conclusion, what does chapter Srimad Bhagavatam 6.15 offer us? Philosophically, theologically, devotionally, Srila Prabhupada's authoritative purpose, profound spiritual gain, life's real goal. Let's see all this. Now, in conclusion, this chapter offers us a multifaceted lesson package. Philosophically, it teaches about the soul and the illusion of attachment. Theologically, it shows Krishna's mercy and the importance of Guru. And devotionally, it inspires us to seek shelter at Krishna's lotus feet through saintly association. These insights are supported by Srila Prabhupada's creative purpose and the wisdom of great acharyas. Hopefully, we can appreciate the overview of this chapter of even among a story of loss. This is a story of loss that Citraketu lost his son, right? A story of loss in Srimad Bhagavatam becomes an occasion for profound spiritual gain, ultimately pointing us toward life's real goal in Krishna consciousness. So, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote in 20.108 verse, he says, Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnare Nityadas. So it is a living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna. Right? Now, a general question, a final question, which may feel like a bit silly, but so anyone can tell me what letter comes between the letter B and D in alphabetical order. Thank you. Don't get scared because it's C, eventually it's C, right? Thank you. So now if B stands for birth and D stands for death, what does C stand for? What can it stand for? No guess? Okay, so let's see. If B stands for birth, D stands for death, let's put C in the middle as connection. Yeah. So after birth and before death, let's all connect with the Almighty Supreme Personality of Godhead to make our lives sublime. Srila Prabhupada used to say, you have wasted so many lives. Just give this one life to Krishna. Oh, that's it. Thank you. Apologies if I've taken longer. And please forgive me for any mistakes I've made. And if you have any questions, any realizations, any criticism, any comments, please go ahead. I will stop here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnavin ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you all. Thank you so much. for giving me opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Vijay Krishna
I
Prabhu.
just have,
Okay, Pratima Mataji, would you like to ask your question?
No,
Don't worry, that's fine. You carry on. Pratima Mataji?
yeah, no, I've changed my mind. I just realized. Sorry.
No, don't worry. It's fine. You carry on. You unmuted. I didn't see you. So go on, Mataji.
Actually, it was a mistake. I thought.
Okay, no problem. Vijay Krishna Prabhu, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, Dharmendra Prabhu, I would like to not ask my question, but I would like to respond to the question Induleka Mataji asked. Why should we accept? Why do we accept? What was the question? Why do we accept the Guru?
Why
And
should
I had an answer for that.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Do you mind repeating the question?
I have so many questions now. I don't know which one you are referring to, but why should
you mentioned the first as an answer, as one of the possible answers, the first verse of the Mangala Charana.
Okay, Prabhuji, go ahead with your answer, please.
Yes, my answer, I think that the question was, why do we need to accept a guru?
Yes.
And what came to my mind was that if even Lord Krishna, God, accepts a guru, why wouldn't we? That would be my answer.
You are right, Prabhuji. You know, actually, when I was preparing for this class, I prepared for about the importance of a guru, and then I also prepared about the qualities of a guru, like 3 classes I prepared. But I didn't want to put too much on this one because I wanted to go to the point and then don't give so much information that we cannot content them. So yes, not only Krishna and Balaram went to Sanjit Muni in Ujjain for knowledge. We see Lord Ram and his 3 brothers. They went to Gurukul to Vashishti Muni. And we know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also took initiation from Ishwarapuri. And he had another guru also, I forgot his name now, Diksha and Shiksha. We know that. These are like they're giving us examples, and why should not we? But then there are many people, there are lots of controversies nowadays in the world. Why a guru? And then also we should know, as I mentioned, the 4 paramparas, we should have a bona fide guru in the disciplic succession. That we should be doing. But many people, some people take it as this. Nowadays there is a word coming out, take initiation as a fashion. Or some people, my friends are taking initiation, I will take. But then it's not that. It's our knowledge. It's our knowledge. We need to know. We need to chant 16 rounds. We need to know about Krishna first, and then we approach a guru. We don't just go to a guru without knowing anything. It will not work like that. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, and if I may, your answer, what you just said reminded me that nowadays the cultural custom of accepting a guru became so distorted that people, instead of accepting a bona fide guru coming through a bona fide disciplic succession, they go for the extreme of accepting as their guru, a Google guru.
But what will happen, Prabhuji? Google guru?
Internet guru, Google guru.
I know that, I know. But then what will happen?
And that is so wrong.
Yes, Prabhuji. They will not get, they will get only information. They will not get transformation. Only information is there.
Exactly. Thank you very much for your class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your question and your participation.
Okay, Manju Radha Devi Mataji, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, I would. I just had a query. For every wrong that is happening, it's very easy to say it's your past karmic account that's being balanced in some way. Why don't people see it as this is something new happening of which the account will be settled in the future? Like in Citraketu, if the sun had some sort of a negative balance from the previous life, which is being settled now, why is it not seen as that the whole sequence of events that have happened, that's actually a new turning point, and in next life, all the queens will have to pay back for what they have done in this life. I find karma very, very confusing, because if you think about Pahalgaon attack, then you'll say, oh, well, they might have done something wrong in the previous life. That's why they were shot. Now, this will create a mayhem in society and will allow people to do anything wrong and then say, oh, well, it's your karmic account, you see, because you did something wrong in the last life, so it's justifiable to do it now. I find karma very, very sort of, it's a territory which is not a bit safe to tread on, shall I put it that way? But yeah, I would like to hear your views on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. This is a very, very good question. Vast answers for that, which we will not be able to cover now. But if you see another side, you're talking about the attack. We don't go into politics, but yes, the Modi close his eyes. He launched the Sindoor attack also, right? He named it Sindoor. But let's leave that aside. Here, what is happening, you are right to say that whatever we are doing now, that karma will pay in the future. Until we have got the knowledge, then we stop doing bad karmas, we stop creating bad karmas. But unknowingly, we are creating bad karmas every day, every single minute of our life. We may say, how come I'm sitting in a cross right now? I'm breathing. How many these living entities are getting into my body, and then I'm inhaling, exhaling. How many of them are being killed? I'm walking on the road. How many are going under my feet? I'm driving. How many are going under the wheel of my car? All these things are there. But there is one thing called the law of karma, right? You hit me, I come back, and I hit you in my next life. But now, King Citraketu has put an end to that. Once we take to Krishna consciousness, once we know about what is happening in our life, once we know that, okay, now I take to Krishna, our sins are, we'll still be paying. We don't say that no, because we are devotees, we won't have a headache, we won't go through these diseases. Great gurus are having all kind of problems. That is because they are taking their karma of their disciples. But we still have to pay. So instead of saying that, okay, I cut my finger today, my hand should have been chopped off, only my finger. I have to pay for that karma. But once we take to Krishna consciousness, we stop doing sinful activities. Then that person to whom we have to come back to, he has to pay for to us, that person also is liberated. Because sometimes, let's see an analogy. Sometimes you see in a family, the husband and wife are quarreling all the time, there's problem. So the wife just leave and go. And people will blame the wife. Why did you leave the husband? It is not authorized in Vedic culture. But what is she doing? She's saving herself. She's saving him as well. Because if I stay here, you will continue like abusing me. You are putting more karmas on yourself. And I am also putting karma because jo paap kare so papi, jo paap sahe so bhi papi. So I put an end here. Doesn't matter. I take to Krishna consciousness. I understand. I elevate my spirit. I am helping you as well. Now, King Citraketu, he is going to liberate the millions of wives, because whatever the husband does, the wife got half of it, the pious karma. So all the wives are going to get the karma, and they will not be suffering. I don't know if I answered your question, Mataji, but it's a good question, and we need time to discuss about it.
Thank you.